Hello everyone, this is Serge from GoToNoob.com. I'm going to talk to you about an indie game called Dead Cells today. It is an early access title that just received a huge update called the Brutal Update, and it became available on GOG Games in Development Program as well. It was available on Steam Early Access only before. I got to spend some time with the updated game. I've also played the game before it was updated, and here are some of the impressions about the game in general and about the new update. So what is Dead Cells, you might ask? It smashes several popular indie game mechanics together. It's a Metroidvania combined with some roguelike features, and the French developer Motion Twin uses a term Souls-light combat in the description of the game, so that's what you can expect. What does that all mean? So you get to play through these procedurally generated levels, or zones, or biomes as the developer calls them, and you get to fight enemies, dodge their attacks, pick up loot from them, or find upgrades for your skills and for your character in general. And once you're finished with one zone, you're gonna get to teleport into another zone with a visit to a vendor in the meantime. In the new zone, there are better weapons, different enemies, better upgrades. Your character gets more powerful, but the enemies are tougher as well. And the whole goal of the game is not to die. Dying resets all of your progress. You go back to the beginning, you have no gear, no upgrades at all, and you have to start over again. So what's the point? The point is that you learn your enemies' movesets, you learn the environment, and you learn where to get gear, how to use your skills, how to use those new weapons and different weapons, and that way you're going to progress further during your next run. You learn by failing, and that's the main progress mechanic of the game. To help your next run be a little bit more fruitful and a little bit easier, there are these dead cells that drop from enemies, and you use them as currency at a vendor located in between the zones. The upgrades that you unlock at this vendor are permanent, and they stick around even when you die. So every next run is going to be a little bit easier than the previous one. Just as you become feeling comfortable, you will come across an elite enemy or a boss that will challenge you, challenge all that you've learned so far, challenge all the gear that you've collected so far, and what's on the line is your full progress so far that you're going to put against this really tough enemy, and you're probably just going to die. And then you're going to go again and then die 10 more times against that tough enemy. But what's satisfying is that after you defeat that enemy, you're going to have a sense of accomplishment because you've managed to do something really tough. What good games do is that through your hard work and accumulating knowledge, you get to progress further in the game and eventually reach its end. And this is what Dead Cells does well. So that's the game in a nutshell. But what I wanted to talk about as well is the Brutal update that they've just released. It's a huge update bringing new zones, new enemies, and a change to the mechanics from the previous versions. The first thing you'll notice in the new update is that scrolls upgrade your weapon slots, your skill slots, and shield slots, while before it was just upgrading your health, your weapon damage, or your skill damage. These new upgrades are called Brutality, Tactics, and Survival. They upgrade your red, violet, and green slots. Each upgrade also buffs your health and gives a temporary buff to the damage of the equipment in that slot. This is similar to what the game had before, but it's more streamlined, it's more balanced, and it's more clear to the player. This change also introduces new items that can depend on 2 stats or 2 slots, and you have these colorless items that depend on the highest stat that you have. So there's a lot of new item tactics that you can try out. There are also 10 new weapons in the game, so you can expand on your strategies and find that perfect playstyle for yourself. There are also 2 new biomes with 4 new enemy types, so that's more content for you to play through. The previous end boss is now somewhere in the middle of the game, and there's a new boss at the end now. And that is just the current end boss. The game is going to have a true ending when it's fully released. What this all means is that although in early access you get a good chunk of content right away, and through updates that are regular get even more content, and by the time the game reaches its full release status you're going to have a really rich game world to play through. The Brutal update brings a huge list of balance changes as well. There are a lot of community requested changes that were implemented, and what's important is how the update feels in comparison to the previous version. And I'd say it's more polished. I've spent 10 hours playing the previous build and an additional 10 hours playing the new one, and the game feels more balanced now, the movement feels sharper, and the whole experience feels a little bit smoother. Overall, the Brutal update is a significant improvement of the game and makes it better, which is great news for those hoping this game will be a good product once it's finished. In the end, the most important thing to determine is whether Dead Cells is worth your time and money. If you're a fan of Metroidvania roguelike games, this is like fine wine for you. They didn't just throw in a bunch of popular indie mechanics and hope everything goes well. All of them are well thought out, balanced, and the game feels like a complete product, even at this stage. I especially enjoy the replayability of the game, the fact that you can just sit down for 30 minutes and have fun, or if you have enough time you can spend like 5 hours with it and still have fun. You're just gonna be like, I want to try one more run, maybe I'll get even further this time around. So whether you decide to get the game in early access or wait for the finished product, you're still gonna have fun. Even the early access version has a lot of gameplay for you and a lot of hours of fun for you. For the rest of this video, I'm just gonna let you watch some of the gameplay that I recorded, and if you guys like this video, please feel free to subscribe to our channel. If you like what you see or what you've heard about Dead Cells, you can go to GOG.com and get the game there, or even on Steam. I thank you very much for watching. This is the Noob signing out.